And not just that, he got them to carry the water of the Ganges on gold pots on their heads and walk all the way back to the vicinity of Thanjavur. And we are also seeing the back of a gigantic Nandi, the bull. This is huge. The giant Nandi is a monolith made from a single rock, which is quite an astonishing feat if you consider its scale and size. This certainly rivals the size of the Nandi at the Thanjavur Brihadeeshwara temple. And we met a mother here who said that yes, these kids do not read history from books, but once it's made into movies, they really want to know. And this statue over here, right at the entrance of the sanctum, at the northern side, celebrates that event where Shiva and Parvati are both seen garlanding Saint Chandeshvara. Hi, on the way to Gangaikondacholapuram. This is early morning around 7 o'clock. Gangaikondacholapuram is about 70 kilometers. The king was the son of the great Rajaraja Chola I. His name was Rajendra Chola I. And some level, his achievements rival the achievements of his father. Rajendran did something that no South Indian king had ever done before or even dared to do before. He went all the way up to the north with his armies to conquer Vengi, which is Andhra of today, Kalinga, Orissa of today, and further north through today's Jharkhand and Bengal, defeating king after king that stood in his way. And not just that, he got them to carry the water of the Ganges on gold pots on their heads and walk all the way back to the vicinity of Thanjavur. He created a capital out of nowhere in a village about 70 kilometers from Thanjavur that we are driving to now, and got a purpose-built tank where the miscellaneous Rajas would deposit their golden pots of precious cargo, Ganges water, into those tanks and fill it up with the sacred Ganges water, which of course to millions of Indians, as far as we can remember, has always been more than a river. It's a sacred symbol of Hinduism itself. So the name is fittingly Gangaikondacholapuram, the place of the Cholas who conquered the Ganges. Even though in a partly ruinous state, you can imagine that it must have been a grand entrance for the victorious soldiers. The Vimana above the sanctum, you can directly see from the gates. It is at a lesser height than Brihadeeshwara. The Brihadeeshwara looms at 216 feet. This one is about 180 feet. It is told, both by the locals and by certain historians, that this was a deliberate act from Rajendra Chola to show his respect to his father's handiwork. This is the flagstaff, and we are also seeing the back of a gigantic Nandi, the bull. This is huge. The giant Nandi is a monolith made from a single rock, which is quite an astonishing feat if you consider its scale and size. This certainly rivals the size of the Nandi at the Thanjavur Brihadeeshwara temple, but somehow this feels a little more closer and intimate because there are no fences around it, and it's not on a raised platform like at Thanjavur. This is at ground level, and it is open to the sky and the ground and the sides all around, so it just feels more approachable, intimate, and still huge. An imposing figure of Nandi the bull. Obviously just directly opposite Shiva, which again is at the height, so we'll be going there, but you can't see it from ground level. This is the big bull, the Nandi, at face level, because we are now at a height. And this is the entrance into the main Shiva sanctum. Went through a long passageway to see the lingam, where photography is not allowed. So it's an impressive sanctum. There's a nice big idol of the lingam, Shiv lingam inside. Again, the kind of scale and expanse reminds you of the Brihadeeshwara temple. It is said that the location of this specific place to build a temple came to Rajendra Chola in his dream. Again, this is another dream where Shiva comes and sort of specifies the location. So for the simple political act of shifting the capital from Thanjavur to Gangaikondacholapuram Rajendra Chola I could now claim that he had divine instructions to do so. A political act thus became obeying a divine command. He also shifted the capital from Thanjavur to Gangaikondacholapuram as a mark. So you can see, like his father, this was a monument to military achievement. As though this weren't enough, he had also moved across the seas to the east, to Kedah and Malaysia today, and Sumatra. Therefore, he came back with the spoils of that place also. Legend of the Nayanar saint Chandeshvara. It is said that Chandeshvara, even when he was a boy, had drawn the shivling on the sand and he had protected it and even cut the limbs of a cowherd who had threatened to desecrate it. So he was quite a passionate and ardent Shiv devotee. And to reward him, it is said that Shiv appeared to him and also garlanded him. And this statue over here, right at the entrance of the sanctum, at the northern side, celebrates that event where Shiva and Parvati are both seen garlanding Saint Chandeshvara. We're inside what is called the Kailasha Shrine, small adjunct in the outside towards the northern side of the compound. That's the main structure, of course, outside, visible, the Vimana, as seen from the Kailasha Shrine. There is a smaller shrine here, probably for Ganesha, I'm not sure. There is a Nandi in front. The lines, well, this has of course been locked. The structure itself isn't that old. It's in fact hardly old. It belongs to the later construction period, somewhere even as recent as the 19th century. But the well, of course, where the defeated Rajas poured their pots of Ganges water, that is supposed to have happened here. And not too far away from that is the actual Chola Gangam, the Ganga of the Cholas, where the big tank was full of Ganges water. Right now it's probably dry, but this is the huge circumference that was built then to commemorate the arrival of the water of Ganga. This again is at the northeast corner of this entire big campus. You can get a scale of the actual well being here, which is now pretty deep and pretty dry, and there is the Vimana in the distance. Today is a weekday and it is about 8:30 in the morning, and I do see people taking photographs, which is a very heartening thing. And I think it's mainly because of certain historical movies made by good directors on the Chola period. And we met a mother here who said that yes, these kids do not read history from books, but once it's made into movies, they really want to know. Quite an expansive construction with the proper defensive walls. This must have been at the center of the village, but with sufficient protection. Gangaikondacholapuram lasted 250 years, so much past the lifetime of Rajendra Chola I, who started this in 1023, where the construction began, and the shifting of the capital happened in 1025. So, as long as the Chola dynasty lasted till 1279, this capital was alive and active. But once the Chola era ended, it's not just the capital that ended, but this whole city vanished. There's nothing around it right now, except a small village of perhaps 5,000 people and an occasional cat. The Ganesha Shrine. The sculptures are not as thick and detailed and in profusion like in Dharasuram, but this is a more grander, broad stroke. On the side walls of the inner sanctum under the Vimana, there are a series of sculptures. This is Shiva striking his cosmic dance posture, made famous by the one at Chidambaram. This one predates that, so might have been the inspiration for the world-famous Nataraja of Chidambaram. Saraswati Shrine. On the southern wall is a very good rendition. She's playing the veena. She also seems to be writing on palm leaf script. She's got a nice expression of contemplation as against her bland expression that you find in so many of these sculptures elsewhere. temple, this Shiva temple, is not merely a temple, it is a significant milestone, a memorial for an achievement sort of put down in permanent stone.
So we've just come out of the premises of Gangaikondacholapuram. It's May, so it's about 9 o'clock in the morning, and it is sweltering already. Perhaps what is striking about what happened in Gangaikondacholapuram as part of its history is about that old thing of North and South India again. This is about not just a military conquest by going up north into strange lands and conquering the kings there. Of course, it is that, but it is more than that. It is more about religious and cultural equivalence between North India and South India. And Rajendra Chola was the first to have established that without a doubt.